Let's talk about Facebook.
Sure.
What's your current position? You don't have an official role with Facebook these days?
Yeah, I have no official role. I'm friends with Mark. I'm friends with a lot of the early executives there.
More than just friends? Any involvement? Do you advise them?
I mean,
Do you work with Facebook?
occasionally, I have my opinions. I'm a pretty opinionated person, so I try to...
All right, so share some with us. Well, what's your opinion with Facebook? Do they need to IPO?
Oh, that's a question that one's definitely off limits. But I don't think they need to IPO. There's definitely no compelling reason that they have to. I think that's a choice Mark is going to, Mark and the board are going to make at some point, and I'm actually happy either way.
And what is your opinion when it comes to Facebook in general? 500 million users, the topic of possibly the most popular movie of the year. So, what are your opinions when it comes to the next step for Facebook?
Next step for Facebook. I think they're doing an incredible job. And I think everybody they're a very product-focused company. They really focus on the user. There's a lot of companies in Silicon Valley that get very caught up in the kind of Silicon Valley, the Silicon Valley mindset. They build products for other engineering people in Silicon Valley, but they don't necessarily build products, mainstream products. Whereas Facebook has done a really good job staying close to its user, building functionality to address the core needs of its user, and not getting caught up in the hype.
When it comes to Facebook and the movie The Social Network, you have been very outspoken talking about the man that played you in The Social Network, and you said this guy in the movie is a morally reprehensible human being.
Well, the character that was written for me, I think he does some things in the film which, first of all, are untrue. I think much of the script. Much of the script was made up to serve the dramatic purposes of Aaron Sorkin. I think a lot of the script is actually quite irresponsible in its treatment of history. The character that was written for me, I think, serves a purpose in the plot, and does a lot of things which are just sort of a jerk. And he kind of does things which are not nice things.
Things you didn't do.
Things that definitely nobody at the company did. So, I mean, on the one hand, the movie is really entertaining and is a really well-made film, and I wouldn't dissuade anyone from going to see it. On the other hand, I don't think a lot of the scenes and characterizations are fictional.
Privacy. What should we expect, Sean, from privacy on the web? I'm not just talking about Facebook. Are we expecting too much privacy? Has this world just changed and you got to let it go?
I don't think that's. I actually think we're moving towards a world where we have more control. That's really when people talk about privacy, I think what they're really talking about is a desire for control. Because if you're participating in the social network or you're participating in Twitter, you want to share information. The question is, what kind of control do you have over that information? How and where it's shared, and Facebook has done a pretty good job building controls so that you can selectively direct the flow of information. It obviously is going to get better and better over time. And I think there's a balance there that needs to be struck. Facebook is always negotiating that balance. I think it does a pretty good job. But I actually don't think that we live in a world that's more transparent and more and less private. I think that's
really.
I think that's something the press likes to talk about. But I think in
tell us why
in
we're
truth,
wrong.
I wouldn't say that you're all wrong. I just think that there was certainly if you live in a small town or a village environment or pre-modern environment, everyone already kind of knows who you're dating, what you're doing. They know who you are.
Right.
They people have a public reputation. That's something that started to change with modernity, started to change with urbanization. So we have these modern expectations about privacy, where you can be anonymous in a crowd of people in a big city, and you can choose to live completely apart from your neighbor. You maybe don't even know your neighbors. And I think that's actually, in some ways, a bad thing. So one of the things that Facebook is bringing back is this notion of a public space. And I think that's the positive side of this kind of privacy versus control debate, is that if we're recreating the public space, and the benefit there is a return to civility, the civility that you have when you live in a small town and you have neighbors, and you're held accountable. I think there's a really good side to this that doesn't get represented in the debate.